Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I'm Naja Atutijani. Remember that this broadcast is being streamed live on our website nta.ng/live. You can also follow us on all our social media handles displayed on the screen. Despite the numerous challenges militating against the existence of a viable aviation sector in Nigeria, appropriate technological tools, standards and procedures have been established by the Buhari administration to ensure that the Nigerian airspace is conducive for flights. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, said this while giving the sector's scorecard during the ministerial briefing held at the State House, Abuja.
When aviation became the fastest growing sector of the Nigerian economy, according to MBS, according to Finance Ministry, the fastest growing sector of the Nigerian economy pre-COVID, then they become the third fastest growing during COVID. Today, according to ACI, Airports Council International, that we are recovered at 110% of pre-COVID numbers.
But we have continued to engage positively with different social media platforms, including Facebook, Google, the owners of YouTube and Twitter. We have no intention of banning any social media platform again, but we will also not sit by and allow any platform whatsoever to throw our nation into crisis.
Meanwhile, the International Civil Aviation Organization is supporting the nation's efforts at upgrading the air safety standards in the country. The Nigerian Navy has pledged to establish a full naval base in Benue State. This was made known during the State Executive Council meeting when an award of Friend of the Nigerian Navy from the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, was presented to Governor Samuel Otom in Makudi. Charles Abba reports.
Commissioner for Lands, Survey and Solid Minerals, Bernard Unenge, who delivered the award of Friend of the Nigerian Navy to the governor on behalf of the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, explained that the Navy is desirous of establishing a full naval base in the state in appreciation of the governor's support to the force and to strengthen its security capacity.
He intended to bring a school here that with what we have done to them, they are going to bring a full base of the Navy to the state.
Benue State Governor Samuel Otom assured his continuous synergy with security agencies for their effective operations.
On the request for a substituted land, you are the Commissioner of Lands and Solid Minerals, and I hereby direct you to immediately provide a land for the Nigerian Navy to carry out their assignment for the betterment of Benue and Nigerians.
The Nigerian Navy has been on ground in Benue State for years now. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Floods in Nigeria receding, leaving behind humanitarian crises of forced migration, displacement and loss of livelihoods. Nigeria is determined to build relations at COP27 to bolster national efforts at rebuilding devastated livelihoods. Onenge Fineface reports.
At a session on scaling climate change adaptation in Nigeria, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development is interfacing with experts at COP27 to better identify and map out climate change risks and vulnerabilities for effective adaptation action in Nigeria.
Reducing vulnerability to hazards requires a focus on root causes through hazard vulnerability assessment to foster prevention, mitigation of existing risks, and preparation for possible disasters and adaptation to changing climate risks.
The COP provides Nigeria opportunity to learn and adopt best practices in building resilience against climate change events in the country.
Nigeria has taken bold steps to develop adaptation communication guided by the NAP global network. The adaptation communication will play a central role in identifying national needs and enabling the national follow-up while informing future action, driving ambition, and contributing information for the global stock take.
Of priority to Nigeria is the diffusion of early warning messages to forestall future occurrence of disasters from extreme weather events in the country. From Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, Onengie Fineface, NTA News.
In view of the enormity of the 2022 flood devastation, which has ravaged most parts of the country, charity organizations in the world have continued to donate relief materials for the upkeep of victims. The latest is from the Kingdom of Jordan, from the King Abdullah bin Hussein Charity Organization, which has donated various items to the victims in the country. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
Taco's C-130 cargo aircraft of the Royal Jordanian Air Force that conveyed the materials arrived the cargo wing of Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, with assorted food, clothing materials, blankets, mattresses, among other materials. Leader of the delegation, Zayed Mahmoud, said King Abdullah of Jordan sympathized with government and people of Nigeria over the tragic incidents. He said the Jordanian royal father is touched with the plight of Nigerians over the most devastating floods that ravage most part of the country.
In this world, we live as a family, so our king every time help anyone from our country and outside this country. So God bless you, and we hope everything is okay here.
The named DG conveyed the appreciation of President Muhammadu Buhari and the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, and promised that the items will be distributed to the target beneficiaries.
Well, this is a very wonderful development from the government under the directive of His Majesty King Abdullah II, the great Ibn al-Hussein, and we thank the Kingdom of Jordan for this most sincere, kind gesture.
It will be recalled that MAP International, a Christian charity organization based in the United States of America, had donated some medical consumables for the medical attention of flood victims in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has called for the prosecution of persons involved in crude oil theft, describing their action as akin to treason, as contained in a message to the Legislative Transparency and Accountability Summit in Abuja. National Assembly correspondent Vivian Idepefo reports.
A summit with the theme Enhancing Transparency and Accountability in the Oil and Gas Sector, Prospects and Challenges, explores the role of the legislature in creating an environment for the success of regulatory and business entities in the industry against the background of the Petroleum Industry Act.
Due to theft and various acts of economic sabotage, we are experiencing a massive decline in crude oil production and export volumes.
Added to these are leakages and wastages from improper records. Anything that affects this sector will affect Nigeria as a country.
The revenues can be invested into industrialization and value chains, education and health, and thus improve access of all Nigerians to basic public goods and services, bringing this beautiful nation to the heights it should be at.
Stakeholders, while commending the Petroleum Industry Act, are unanimous on the need to build trust by deepening transparency in order to curtail the rate of illicit financial flows occasioned by complexities in operations in the oil and gas sector.
We must discard completely confidential clauses that forbid the operators of government from disclosing terms negotiated with parties.
It is therefore important for the government to ensure that instituted measures aimed at enhancing transparency in the oil sector include full disclosure of NNPC joint venture arrangements.
We will continue to collaborate with the National Assembly and all other stakeholders to bring in more transparency and to own up when we do wrong and correct it, and we take all the corrections that is necessary.
We have a lot of data and information on who is owing what has been paid, what has been received, what has been produced, what was exported.
The summit is expected to produce a working document to guide the 9th House of Representatives on key deliverables in the anti-corruption crusade. From the National Assembly, Vivian Idekpefo, NTA News.
From the National Assembly, we head to Yobe State, where the government is partnering the European Union and other development partners to strengthen transparency, accountability and prudent management of public resources for the entrenchment of good governance. This is coming under the Public Finance Project, Management and Finance Project of the state. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
To achieve the desired objectives under this partnership between the European Union and Yobe State government, this high-level advocacy session with a theme, making policy to deliver results, is summoned to deepen the collaboration to a certain level of commitment by parties involved with regards to the promotion of public finance management, monitoring and evaluation, as well as statistics for effective service delivery to the citizenry.
The EU Yobe project is here to support the state government to implement and achieve its objective of its reform agenda. This will go a long way to facilitate the ongoing recovery from conflict.
There is no doubt that the advocacy session has reawakened our confidence and reminded us of the enormity of the task ahead of us in strengthening and internalizing our reform drives.
Meanwhile, Governor Malabuni has received 50 units of POS machines donated by the United Bank for Africa to the state government to enhance revenue collection and remittance in the state. In the match, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
A coalition of civil society organizations under the umbrella of We the People of Nigeria says building a united and peaceful Nigeria is pivotal to developing the country. This was made known at a rally by the organizations in Abuja. Oyinaya Kalu Oka reports.
The city of Abuja was spotted with the green-white-green national color as more than 20 civil society organizations went around busy streets educating Nigerians on the vision of the new Nigeria is possible through peace, unity and patriotism.
That a nation blessed by God with amazing resources and riches ineffable cannot crumble. Tell them that God did not bury the highest number of mineral resources in the world in this nation to allow it to fail.
Only through constant reminding we will energize them.
It's not an error that we are together. We keep on looking back when you need to be going forward.
The need to educate Nigerians, especially political parties, to be committed to the unity of the country in the course of their campaign was re-emphasized.
Rub mind together to see how we can go beyond what our politicians are doing to create a new beginning for ourselves.
I'm one of the Nigerians who believe in change, starting with me.
The new Nigeria is possible is a vision endorsed by non-political, non-religious and non-state actors. It is commonly known as the We, the People of Nigeria. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
Let's join Michael in Lagos for an update on seized donkey parts and other reports.
Najatu. The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service says the various windows of trade available in the meat export value chain should not be seen as an avenue for illicit business in wildlife. The agency re-echoed this warning at the destruction of 7,000 pieces of donkey genital parts recently intercepted by the Murtala Mohammed Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service while being exported to Hong Kong. 7,000 donkey genital parts being handed over to the quarantine service on the 7th of September 2022. But beyond this act of shared responsibility are worries by both agencies on the safety of endangered species. According to research, it takes an average of 13 to 14 months for a donkey to produce an offspring. Hence, the concern of the quarantine service is that harvesting 7,000 for just 40 million naira is already pushing donkey to the edge of going into extinction in Nigeria.
Anyone intending to export animal parts in disguise, intending to export donkey parts in disguise, are actually working against the government. They are working against the law. They will be caught.
The destruction exercise, which took the form of chemicalization and burying in a pit, the head of narco command of the agency said, is to serve as warning to whoever intends to venture into the trade that it is a fruitless enterprise.
Even if you are seeing Asian countries flashing dollars at you, please let's help our nation and let's help our economy in the little way we can. Imagine destroying these things. It's a loss. We can't retrieve the animals.
The Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service says, apart from enforcing import and export regulations on food and agricultural produce, there are desk offices offering advice on genuine procedures. The case between Lagos State and the prime suspects of the murder of the CEO of Super TV, Yusufu Ataga, has again been adjourned. Anita Knows has details.
At the High Court of Lagos in Boshere, the counsel to the Lagos State government and the Oluwafemi informed the court that the police witness, ASP Funke Madehinlo, had informed her that she was out on jurisdiction duties, so won't be available in court on this day. This generated a reaction from the counsel to the second defendant, Busari Babatunde, who regrets that series of adjournments of the case has delayed the matter, thereby affecting the rights of his clients to quit detention. Busari therefore pressed the court to grant his client bail. The judge, Justice Yetunda Desonya, turned down the request and was quick to express her displeasure at the absence of parties involved in the murder case of Yusufu Ataga at one time or another, a case in the eye of the public. The case has been adjourned to the 15th, 17th and 22nd of November 2022 in Lagos. Annie Daniels, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. Time for some messages. Nationwide, we continue with Nigerian in Abuja.
Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, welcomes the United Nations World Tourism Organization Secretary General and Ministers of Tourism, Culture and Arts from the UNWTO member states to the first UNWTO Global Conference on Linking Tourism, Culture and the Creative Industries. Date from 14th to 16th November 2022. Venue, National Theatre, Igomu, Lagos. Workshops and technical sessions starts on 14th November. Opening ceremony 15th November, time 10 a.m. A Day with Nollywood, 16th November, time 10 a.m. Special guest, UNWTO Secretary General, Mr. Zurab Pololikashvili. Special guest of honor, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. Mrs. Lydia Shehu Jafia, MNI, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Information and Culture. Announcer.
Pleased that the Buhari-led administration has made remarkable progress,
like Lafia Transmission Station nearing completion.
Africa does not need charity, but partnerships that will promote the adequate investment
with the cooperation of all.
Sharing firsthand the experiences of reporters on the field as they bring to you weekly the beauty of Nigeria's diverse culture and the economic potentials therein. The Correspondence, development through the eye of the grassroots, showing every Monday at 1:30 p.m. on the network service of the NTA, with a repeat broadcast on NTA News 24 and NTA International. Join us.
Actors Guild of Nigeria, in partnership with Edo Jobs, presents Nollywood Actors Summit 2022. Theme: Impact of Digital Technology on the Acting Profession. Date: 21st to 23rd November 2022. Venue: Victor Uwaifu Creative Hub, Benin City. Chief host, His Excellency Mr. Godwin Obasaki, Executive Governor Edo State. Host, Chief HJC Emeka Rollers, MON, President, Actors Guild of Nigeria. The summit is a platform for intellectual discourse aimed at positioning the actor to tap into the opportunities of the emerging digital economy. For partnership and support, please call 0802 307 8087, 0802 459 9999. AGN, the show must go on.
Introducing the Nigerian Marketing Awards. Celebrating marketing excellence in Nigeria on Friday, 11 November 2022 at the Eko Convention Center. Visit our website at www.nma-ng.com for more information. Entry closes September 30, 2022.
Thanks for staying tuned. The National Information Technology Development Agency has developed a guideline for the introduction of service-level agreements in government information technology contracts. This is aimed at addressing issues of lack of warranty and after-sales service agreements on information technology products and service purchases, which have caused consumer dissatisfaction and complaints.
These times are therefore when we need to ensure that there's a viable, enabling environment for the digital economy to thrive, not just by having innovations in emerging technologies, but ensuring players in the industry thrive under a mutually cohesive environment, hence the need for service-level agreements. We believe this will mark the beginning of compliance to better service delivery in the sector, and together we intend to commence to develop the culture of the use and compliance to SLAs when implementing government IT contracts.
He has also brought together consumers and vendors of information technology products and services to mainstream issues that will engender efficient service delivery and customer satisfaction. The Nigerian Communications Commission has identified multiple vulnerabilities in the AnyConnect Secure Mobility Client for Windows, a solution which enables employee access to company servers from anywhere without compromising security. A statement by the Commission's Public Affairs Director, Ruben Morka, states that these vulnerabilities make it possible for a remote attacker to exploit or trigger remote code execution and data manipulation on the targeted system. The team is therefore advising users to frequently review product alerts to assess their exposure and find a comprehensive update. People need to receive relevant and timely information in a systematic way prior to a disaster for informed decision-making. This is the position of space and technology engineers as they work out modalities aimed at mitigating flood and all forms of natural disasters in the country. Adebola Brookslin reports.
Data released by the National Emergency Management Agency shows that in 2022 alone, the number of people affected by widespread flooding across Nigeria stands at about 3.2 million. The need to prepare for the unexpected shocks, which has become clearer than ever, is the reason these space scientists, technologists, and engineers converged. They identified the inability to study, analyze, and evaluate situations to profile solutions as some of the pointers slowing down disaster mitigation in the country.
That is why disasters keep reoccurring, even at the same place, at the same community, over the years, perennially.
Nigerian Sat-1 was positioned around New Orleans. So it was honors on the satellite to be the one to image Hurricane Katrina. That actually raised our shoulders above our other colleagues.
The forum is also of the view that most of the flood cases in Nigeria are human-induced.
People built indiscriminately to block the waterways, and they also dump refuse to block the waterways.
One thing they say is to forecast, another is for the people to take action.
NIME disseminated information as early as January this year. I think the only disconnect is what are the critical stakeholders in the value chain? What are they supposed to do?
The government will enforce to make sure that they listen to these people, they listen to their prediction. If they listen to their prediction, there will be no disaster again.
About 600,000 hectares of farmland have been destroyed by floods ahead of the October harvest season, a situation analysts say may aggravate already alarming food insecurity. Adebola Brookslyn, NTA News.
Agatha is in Benin with more updates.
Thank you, Najatu. A warm welcome to Benin. Our President Muhammadu Buhari has tasked faith-based organizations to work for the unity and development of the nation. In a message to the Third National Pastoral Congress of the Catholic Church in Benin City, Edo State, the President underscored the need for religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence in the country. Paul Omukagu also tells us that the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty Ewai II, attended the Congress on invitation of the Catholic Archdiocese of Benin.
The President, represented by Minister of Health, Dr. Osaige Ehanire, for faith-based organizations to be at the forefront of educating Nigerians to conduct themselves peacefully ahead of the 2023 elections.
We will do more to check and also to distance ourselves from the zealous training groups within our ranks.
The ceremony climaxed with the grandiose entry of Oba Ewai II, the Benin monarch, who shared some thoughts on the vital contributions of the church to the development of the ancient Benin kingdom. He made a case for the integration of traditional African religion in resolving societal vices.
This is the direction of contribution that the nation looks towards from the church. In the area of education, the ordinary man looks to Christian schools and ways they far less than those schools managed by profit-seeking businessmen.
Preceded by a mass where Christians and delegates from other dioceses across Nigeria were enjoined to be consistent in their service unto God by Bishop of Ekiti Diocese, the opening ceremony featured thought-provoking speeches.
The theme of this National Pastoral Congress challenges us to fashion out how we are to work together in the spirit of fraternity, cooperation, and co-responsibility.
The Pastoral Congress with the theme for a synodal church, communion, participation, missions is expected to evaluate propositions of the 2012 Congress. In Benin, Paul Mukago, NTA News.
And the new INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner, Edo State, Obo Ifanga, says his activities in Edo State will be guided by the rules of engagement in the discharge of duties. He stated this shortly after assuming duty as Resident Electoral Commissioner in Benin City. Goodluck Inaini has the report.
The new Resident Electoral Commissioner is no doubt familiar with the terrain, having worked in the same capacity while in the state in 2017. He takes over officially as the REC and charged members of staff to discharge their duties with utmost integrity and in compliance with the Constitution, Electoral Act, and other relevant laws guiding their conduct.
It is not possible for the Resident Electoral Commissioner to influence the outcome of an election. So anybody that wants to win election, go to the field, talk to the people, tell them why they should vote for you, and encourage them to vote. And when they vote, we count the votes.
He urged eligible voters in Edo to take advantage of the display of preliminary voter register when it is being displayed by ascertaining their eligibility, just as INEC has finalized arrangements to make collection of PVCs more easier.
The cards are available in the local government offices of INEC right now, but beginning from Saturday, when we are going to have the display of preliminary voters register, at that ward level, the cards for the wards would be available there, so people can pick them there.
The new resident electoral commissioner appealed to the political class to play by the rules, as election must not be seen as a do-or-die affair. In Benin, Goodluck Enaimi, NTA News.
That's our package. Nationwide returns with Salamatu in Kaduna after this break. To stay on.
Nigerians, elections are here again. Let us shun violence. Let us play the game according to the rules. Do not be a thug. Say no to violence. Let's rise and defeat violence, crime, and sabotage against the peace of our nation. Nigeria is the only country we have. We must do everything to keep it united. We must avoid any act that promotes hate and disintegration. Say no to separatist movement, terrorism, fake news, hate speech, religious bigotry, and any act that tends to divide us as a nation. Watch out for strange gatherings and suspicious movements. Restrict access to sensitive documents and data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Now, what would make someone set out on a journey and not get to his or her destination? Now, imagine the victim who cannot reach out to these responders, who doesn't even have the phone to reach out. Hello, thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Agwe.
Especially if the girl is a minor, she's not yet 18 years. If she gets pregnant, realize that such girl is sent out of school and the boy is left in school.
Just park to pick the call.
So how much sensitization is there, Paris?
I don't agree. A lot of people are just deaf.
Critical stakeholders meeting on disaster management from the Northwest Zone has ended in Kaduna with adoption of various strategies to mitigate human and natural disasters. Participants are particularly concerned over incessant fire outbreaks and the need for vigorous campaign to enlighten the public on causes of fire outbreaks. Daud Mohammed reports.
Flood and fire disasters are the most frequently occurring natural disasters affecting communities. They are largely caused by human activities which degrade the environment, changing the entire ecosystem. Recent floodings across the country remain a threat to disaster managers. While they are making plans against these future occurrences, the incidences of fire outbreaks during this season is another challenge. Reducing this to the barest minimum is central to what was discussed by disaster managers at a stakeholders meeting with a view to profiling solutions.
We need to have the early warning information on time so that we can widely circulate the information to our stakeholders for an efficient and effective response.
How to improve in terms of addressing these disasters
to curtail the incessant fire outbreak.
Paper presentations by NEMA, Federal Fire Service, Christian Aid, and an academic, Professor Rabiu Abdulsalam Magaji of Abu Zaria, dwelt on the need for precaution in disaster management.
We're advocating for the fact that the early warning system should come from people. That it should not be what we call bottom top. It should be people centered, and also there should be more funding from the government.
While participants are unanimous on the need for synergy among key players. Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Away from Kaduna, we'll move to Kano as Kano state government intensify efforts to curtail the scourge of malaria through National Malaria Elimination Program, environmental sanitation, and other initiatives. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje stated this during the launching of distribution of free insecticide-treated nets and integrated yellow fever vaccination campaign at Gaya local government area. Our Salisu tells us more.
Statistics by the Federal Ministry of Health reveal that malaria is the leading cause of mortality and morbidity in Nigeria, with young children and pregnant women disproportionately affected. However, concerted efforts over the years by government at all levels and donor partners is yielding results, as the number of prevalence is reducing according to the report of the National Malaria Indicator Survey. To further consolidate on these successes, 8.8 million insecticide-treated nets will be distributed across the 44 local government areas of Kano State. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, represented by his deputy Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, who flagged off the distribution exercise at Gaya local government area, said single door-to-door strategy will be used in line with the revised national guidelines.
Campaign will be implemented in all the 44 local governments and will be done in phases. Phase 1 will cover 28 local governments, while the phase 2 will cover 16 local governments. At different times, the phase 1 will be from the 6th to 19th of November, while the phase 2 will be from 21st to the 5th of December. Despite these successes, there are still gaps in our commodity availability and implementation of the interventions.
The governor called for collaboration in the areas of environmental sanitation, amongst other interventions, to curtail the prevalence of malaria in the state. In Kano, Awal Salisu, NTA News.
And that's all on our report from here. It's back to you, Naja'atu. Good evening.
Thank you very much, Salamatu. The National Broadcasting Commission has directed pay television giant MultiChoice to sub-license some of its channels to Metro Digital Limited, Metro TV, in compliance with its current broadcast code and a recent appeal court judgment. Joy Uzo has the details.
National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) gave the directive to the South African Satellite TV Network in a letter dated October 25, 2022, addressed to the Chief Executive Officer of the MultiChoice and signed by NBC legal head George Obi on behalf of the Director General of the Commission. The directive to comply with the 6th edition of the NBC Code as amended pursuant to requests for channels sub-licensing to Metro Digital as ordered by the Federal Court of Appeal.
We commend and appreciate the role played by the federal government and NBC towards the repositioning of the industry and the end to monopolistic practices that have held the industry down for such a long time.
The list would be asking the regulator is a level playing field, and unfortunately we've had to go through this battle for too long. And we want to use this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Information for stepping in and doing the right thing.
The new directive, which took effect after a 3-year legal battle with NBC and MultiChoice on the need to correct lingering anomaly in aspects of the broadcast business, is expected to end pay TV monopoly, restore several job losses, and benefit pay TV consumers through better service at affordable rates.
Bringing in competitiveness will make the industry robust.
In Port Harcourt, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
The federal government says the Nigeria Agenda 2050 is designed to drastically reduce the poverty rate to 0.6% and the unemployment rate to 6.3%, while taking the economy to the highest per capita GDP in the group of upper middle income economies. The Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Clem Agba, stated this at a press briefing ahead of the 28th Nigerian Economic Summit. Neka Oko reports.
For over 2 decades now, the Nigerian Economic Summit has been consistent in promoting sustainable growth and development of the Nigerian economy. This year, the summit intends to galvanize renewed commitment of stakeholders to articulate the country's development imperatives, with the prospect of drawing lessons and insights from the past and present to set the economic policy agenda for sustainable economic development.
As we are all aware, sustained growth is key to the eradication of poverty. During the implementation period of the Perspective Plan, efforts will be made to promote rapid and sustained economic growth of 7% on the average. Growth will be sustained by maintaining macroeconomic stability, ensuring equity, promoting productivity and competitiveness, ensuring low population growth, as well as girl child education and women participation in the labor force.
Based on our NESG macroeconomic scenarios and projections of the future, a transformational political leadership approach with a business unusual mindset supported by robust elites with socially mobilized policies can transform our country into the nation of our dreams.
The 28th edition of the summit, with the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning playing a strategic role, is slated for November 14 and 15 in Abuja. Neka Oko, NTA News.
Following the proposed appropriations bill of 20.51 trillion naira to the National Assembly, ActionAid and concerned civil society organizations have raised recommendations for economic development. Elizabeth Omori reports that economic watchers at the instance of ActionAid Nigeria suggest that the federal government design a coordinated framework to ensure that funds allocated to critical sectors are properly administered to ensure value for money through integrated approaches.
Education should be channeled towards concrete deliverables, targeting human and infrastructural development.
Make it more participatory and inclusive, involving relevant stakeholders in the approval processes, especially the women groups, people with disability or people with special needs.
Engage organized labor, private sector, and the public in good faith disclosure and negotiation with relevant information, and design a social intervention program in critical sectors like transport, agriculture.
The groups also say that the process of appropriation should not ignore prevailing economic realities. Meanwhile, Kaduna State government has described a purported story making the rounds that there has been an attack on the Kaduna-Abuja highway as a tissue of lies manufactured by merchants of conflict to create tension. A statement by the State Commissioner of Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruan, indicates that government is in constant touch with security agencies responsible for securing not only the Kaduna-Abuja corridor, but the state in general, and no breach of public peace has been reported. Meanwhile, the Osun State government has secured a letter of recognition from the National University Commission, NUC, for the establishment of the University of Ilesha. Abdul Malik Hassan reports on the visit of the governor of Osun State to the National Universities Commission.
It is an academic environment and ongoing talks with familiar faces.
To sustain another university of international reputation.
This is rather not familiarity, but how to ensure standard for the establishment of University of Ilesha, Osun State.
The establishment of this University of Ilesha is necessitated by the massive gap between qualified candidates and available space in existing higher institutions within the state. Our commitment is to continue to develop the human resources needed to drive growth in Osun and in Nigeria.
However, the NUC presented a manual to Governor of the state, Adegboyega Oyetola, to ensure standard, while letter of recognition tendered, making the university the 60th state-owned recognized and 220th among Nigerian universities.
We also enjoin Your Excellency and the Osun State Government to take full advantage of the professional and technical advice that the Commission is statutorily required to provide on the establishment, funding, and operation of the university. By a copy of this letter, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board (JAM), the Tertiary Education Trust Fund (TED Fund), and the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) are being notified of the establishment of the university.
The institution will take off from College of Education, Ilesha site. Abdulmalik Hassan, NTA News.
The development of any nation depends on the ability of its youth to turn its socio-economic and political fortunes around for the benefit of all, say stakeholders at a summit aimed at giving the youth opportunities to realize their potential in the task of nation building. Musa Mikhail reports.
Indicates that Nigeria is one of the countries in the world with a large population of youth, and if this potential is fully harnessed, can lead to her socio-economic prosperity. Sadly, the challenge of keeping youth meaningfully engaged has been a major concern of government at all levels and people of vested interest. This youth summit, tagged Renewed Hope for Youth in Politics, therefore seeks to propel the younger generation to make healthy decisions by playing active and credible roles in the 2023 general elections.
Nobody will give you power, nobody. You must participate in all the political process. You must. So for you to have taken this opportunity and take a lead, that shows they know the importance of who they are in the society.
Government must be run in future from today by analytics and ICT. We need that. As a party, we have over 1 million voluntary membership in Nigeria today.
A lot of activities are geared towards youth because a lot of them indeed are vulnerable. Some over time have been deprived. So we are looking towards that direction deliberately because they have the energy and zeal to be able to drive the process.
It is also to remind youth of the task ahead in the business of governance, ensuring improved healthcare, education and agriculture, as well as maintaining secure society, as inherent in the All Progressives Congress agenda. Imina Musa Mikail, NTA News.
Justin, the presidency has welcomed the humanitarian assistance from the King Salman Humanitarian and Relief Center for the offer of treatment to a poor Nigerian family which birthed a set of conjoined twins, Hassana and Husseina, both girls, joined in the abdomen, were born to a Kano family at a government hospital in Kaduna State. They share a liver and did not come with anuses for excretion of waste. They were moved to the National Hospital Abuja, where they stayed for 78 months without undergoing surgery because of funding. The National Hospital said it had done surgery in the past, but the Saudi consul, Khalil Ahmed Al-Adamawi, whose attention was drawn to the humanitarian situation, successfully got the support of the King Salman Foundation, which plans on sending an air ambulance anytime from now for their medical evacuation to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council has inaugurated its National Youth Campaign Wing with the sole mandate of delivering the Atiku Okowa presidential mandate come 2023. The presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar, has advised members of the youth wing to center their campaign on his 5-point agenda and be civil in their conduct. Timothy Yusuf reports.
You are hereby inaugurated
as the members of National Youth Campaign Council of our great party.
The youth, being the most productive segment of every society, is the underlying reason for bringing on board PDP youth from across the country into the party's presidential campaign council. This is evident in the inauguration of some of them to complement the campaign council in their own capacity.
You remain a very critical component of this movement toward rescuing Nigeria, toward the unifying Nigeria.
We have a good product to market. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar is the product. He is the hope for the youth.
PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar says the campaign message to be propagated remains his 5-point covenant with Nigerians: unity, education, economy, security, and devolution of powers to federating units.
Those 5-point program, I sat down myself to write them. And if you study those 5 points, you will find that they seamlessly interconnect with each other. That is what we find in our candidates, our presidential candidates.
Representatives of the youth from the 6 geopolitical zones promised to work in tandem with the PDP Presidential Campaign Council in its efforts to deliver Atiku Abubakar and other candidates for the party's 2023 general elections. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
There has been an arson attack on the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC office in Abeokuta South local government area. A statement by the INEC National Commissioner for Information, Festus Okoye, notes that the act of arson was carried out by unidentified persons who overpowered the security personnel on duty and set the entire building ablaze. The main building and all the Commission's movable assets in the office have been destroyed. Materials affected also include 904 ballot boxes, 29 voting cubicles, 30 megaphones, 57 election bags, 8 electric power generators, and 65,699 uncollected permanent voter cards. Similarly, the INEC office in Ede South local government area of Osun State has also been attacked and set ablaze. The incident occurred when some unidentified persons attacked the building and set a portion of it ablaze. The damage was limited to a section of the building and only some furniture items were destroyed. Ahead of the forthcoming national headcount in Kebbi State, the National Population Commission is working to ensure that only personnel who will add value to the exercise are enrolled as online recruitment begins. Abubakar Garbadiki reports.
Full conduct of the forthcoming national headcount is hinged on a number of factors, one of which is competent manpower. To ensure that is done, the e-recruitment portal for the exercise was inaugurated in Kebbi State with key stakeholders present. Haliru Balaji Kandaudu is the Federal Commissioner representing Kebbi State.
The importance of e-recruitment is to make sure that we did justice to each and every local government. That is 774 local government in Nigeria. And in Kebbi, so we have 21 local government. We are going to consider each local government to make sure that the indigenous of that local government are involved during the census exercise.
Dr. Bala also reiterated the importance of being meticulous in the process so that data to be collected is utilized purposefully. He assured people from the 21 local government areas of Kebbi State that the bulk of personnel for the exercise will be drawn from the communities they are residing so as to cut the huge logistics associated with such.
We are in digital age, so the census that we are going to do is digital census. So even the recruitment is digital recruitment.
In Birnin Kebbi, Abdullah Umar Ilalu, NTA News.
Up next is Sports Update.
Reactions continue to